This is blank. Okay. Oh my gosh, I have nothing to wear. And my birthday is next week. I have school, I have homework, I have work. What am I gonna do? There's no time. Wait a minute. Why am I tripping out about this? This is crazy. I could literally go on Amazon, search up my birthday dress, and get it in what, 2 days? Free shipping? Yup, gonna have to do that. There's no problem there. Don't know why I was making such a big issue about it. And that's the problem. Right now, there's an issue with fast fashion and the effects of fast fashion. A lot of teenagers now go on TikTok, go on Pinterest, and search up the newest, trendiest items of clothing, shoes, what they should be wearing, and they immediately purchase it. No matter what. There's no second thought that they give to that. Which is crazy. Because if they knew the effects and the problems that they were causing, they wouldn't do that. This cycle repeats. You buy something new, you get it, but by the time that you put it on and you post a picture about it, your outfit's not trendy anymore. And that sucks. But it keeps repeating because everyone wants to wear the trendiest items. So today, I'm going to be talking to you guys today about the effects of fast fashion and why it's important to care about fast fashion. My first point is, I'm going to explain what fast fashion is because not a lot of people know what fast fashion is, and there's no shame in that. My second thing is I'm going to explain why fast fashion is incredibly unethical. Third, I'm going to explain how it's affecting our planet. And lastly, hopefully I can persuade you in creating a solution as to why we can stop fast fashion and possibly stop the pollution of fast fashion. So, first I'm going to explain what fast fashion is. So, fast fashion is the rapid manufacturing of clothing. This is when people are forced to manufacture thousands of items of clothing per hour, per day, every single day, weeks on end, which is scary and crazy. Now, Alyssa Hardy and the United Nations of Environmental Programs conducted an investigation of how fast fashion is affecting the world and how it's hurting these people. But we'll get into that, but had to bring it in here first because it's the real definition and why they decided to do this investigation because of how harmful fast fashion is. Now, also there's a history behind it that concludes to when in the 1970s, fast fashion was designated as a term. Before that, people would take the time to make beautiful gowns, clothing, things done by hand, hand-sewn, hand-stitched. Which takes time, but that's what people wanted, and that's what real labor is back then. Once in the 1970s, this term was presented in South Asia. Once this term was presented, it became extremely more popular to the people there. Gen Z also serves an issue to this problem in the definition of fast fashion because before Gen Z, not a lot of people understood the term of fast fashion, but now with Gen Z, they made it an aware problem. They're the ones that are actually speaking up about what fast fashion is and why we should stop it. Now that brings me in to my second point, how fast fashion is extremely unethical. I want to start off by saying that fast fashion is unethical because with the study of Alyssa Harding, there was shown to be child labor and also regular labor workers. The ages of the child labor workers range from 12 to 15. Regular ages were 12 to 45, which is very, very bad. Now, with this, we also bring in the George Washington University and how they also conducted a study of how these workers were being treated. The reason that fast fashion is so unethical is because these workers, stated by the George Washington University, were not given breaks, not given water, made to work in conditions where buildings were falling apart, where machines were falling apart, and where women were getting hurt on a daily basis due to the manufacturing of the machines not being replaced and not being taken care of. They were working with machines that were about 10 to 15 years old with no replacement of new needles and no new threads. So they would be using products that were from other places, other companies, and that's just unhygienic, which is also unethical to these women that are being put in these working conditions, which is horrible. Now I'm going to be talking about the biggest thing, the biggest focus, which is how our planet is being affected by fast fashion. According to an investigation led by Rachel Fuchs, this student found ways to repurpose items that were already being thrown away. So, if only one student could make a difference, imagine if we all started doing this. Imagine if we all started taking care of the pollution in the world and started making items out of old clothing, out of old shoes, out of old headbands. There would be a great difference. But unfortunately, with the pollution that has come from fast fashion, according to the Ethical Consumer Business, a website focused on educating people about real topics on Earth, 93 million meters of water have been used in the past 3 years to make fast fashion, which 93 million meters of water could help 50 people in Africa with the supply of water. This was all taken from the Ethical Consumer Business website, which is one of my sources that I used. And then also 20% of the population has increased its carbon footprint. And also, in addition to all of this, by 2030, the prediction of fast fashion will go up 50%. Right now, we're at a standard 35%, but by 2030, we'll be at a 50%, which by that time, there will be irreversible damage to our planet. In the end of everything, with the problem that is fast fashion affecting our planet, we need to focus on a solution. A solution that could be helpful to our planet is when people are shopping, to actually include them paying for shipping. Which brings me back to the beginning of what I was talking about. How some people find it great that there is no shipping fees on websites like Amazon, like Shein, like H&M after you spend a certain amount of money. This is the solution, but there's also a 50% increase of flying and shipping given from Fast Retailers chapter in consumption of fast fashion. This was a book that stated that if we were to stop, the flying and shipping companies would go down. But right now we are at a 50% increase because of how much people are buying, and there's the shipping and the carbon emissions and all these things that are affecting the planet already. My solution would be to first educate Gen Z, more of the Gen Z population. There is about 23% of the Gen Z population that knows about it and what fast fashion is from the chapter in consumption of fast fashion. This is where I read about it and I learned about how there is only certain people that know what fast fashion truly is. So that brings me to my conclusion And I hope that everyone can focus on creating a better planet for us and making sure that our planet is okay and safe. And even if you think you need something new, you can maybe upcycle something in your closet and make it just as trendy. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.